Okay, so thank you very much all for coming. We apologize for being late, but it's Monday and it's busy Monday. It's a very short week, so thank you to Bistra that has been very kind to get you coming here and doing some work with a very potent group of young future social innovators. We have met for the first time 2 months ago,
2 months ago.
month and a half in Vienna. We were visiting the Vienna Impact Hub together with the mayor of Skopje, Petar Šilegov, and then we have been discussing about how to bring some of the nice experiences and model of social innovations that we have seen actually in Vienna, also in Skopje. Social innovation is something that is very, very new in Macedonia. Here and there people do this, but they don't realize actually that it's a social innovation. So we said, okay, let's do a system. And as some of you mentioned actually earlier on today, that it's social innovation is a very nice way how to transfer the model of thinking from NGO-like to entrepreneurship-like. It's a huge area. I have also invited my very, very dear friend Mila Caravska, who is the Minister of Labor and Social Policy, also to talk with you a bit today. So you can actually realize how important this is and that the government is actually standing behind this. This will be basically the very first thing how we start to work and build on this concept of social innovations in the country. What I can say is that besides this tailor-made training and mentorship for all of you, we have also prepared a nice challenge that has been actually ongoing for a while. Actually, it should have been closed today. This is Obrok Sita, which is actually the first public call to finance projects which are related to social innovations. We have agreed today that we are going to extend the deadline for application, so all of you can actually learn something today and tomorrow, and then maybe sit and prepare and present a good project proposal that can actually go into the challenge and maybe get some finances to be materialized. So we have extended the deadline until the 15th of June, which is 20 plus days starting from today, meaning that, as I said, today and tomorrow you get some coaching, mentorship, develop appropriate mindset, and then maybe start and get some work done. We are also discussing to establish a separate program, so this kind of social innovations capacity building should continue on a regular basis. We need to sit and discuss how to organize this with a permanent presence maybe of our partners from Vienna, and also set up a separate program where we can actually award grants to companies like you that can actually work on different social challenges. As I said, this is a very, very, very beginning, and I hope that we are going to see a very fruitful cooperation in the next period. So thank you all again for coming, and I wish you a very successful next 2 days, and of course a lot of fun. Thank you.
I would like to invite now our lovely role model, someone we find very passionate, very inspiring. A woman, sorry Jovan, but I really respect women leaders more. So please, some opening lines from you.
Thank you and hi to everybody. I'm really happy because in Macedonia we are starting to discuss the social innovations, something that before 1 year I was very skeptic, and I discussed this in Macedonia. It's impossible maybe to create some atmosphere, young people to create the social businesses and to to be innovative in creating the social services. But today we are here thanks to the director that I really love him, I can say, because he just tried to have an institution that push the social impact, but also to have an innovative and enterprise part of all initiatives that he created in the plan of the institution that he led. But I think that in Macedonia, it's a time where we can say that social innovations will create the care economy. Why? Because the care economy in our country is not developed at all. There is no services that are regulated and by the country, by the government, or by the local self-government. And as a Minister of Labor and Social Policy, I'm pushing all these things. And in 2019, we are starting with implementation with a new law for social protection that will calculate all the services that we will pay to the social partners. And these social partners needs to be created by the businesses or the civil society organization. And in this moment, you can use also the operational plan for employment. And in that plan for employment, you will see that social enterprises and also the civil society organization that have a social component inside can use money for employ people and to create these services. With these tools, we are trying to improve the capacity in the society to invest in the social sector. I hope that together we can do this, and these 2 days, I hope that we will have a productive discussions and plans, how you will support the country and how after that the country will support the innovative social businesses in the next period. Како е оброк за сите? Food, meal for everybody. I think it will be a very good start for us, but after that we are opening a few calls, I'm sure, with the director that will support you to have the reality of all plans that you will create today here. Thank you a lot. And I hope everybody will succeed in 2019.
It's not only a pleasure to have these two very inspiring people in the room on a Monday morning, which I think is a highlight for me that they made time for us to come and be here, but also it's a highlight that they chose to speak English so our mentors and experts can also understand. And in that light, I would like to invite Jose, maybe to say a few opening words as well from your perspective. You have been in Macedonia several times so far. You're an entrepreneur, social innovator, coming from the IT industry, breaking down patterns and paradigms of how you do business. And we are very happy to have you here. So please say a few opening lines as well.
Thank you so much. Well, now you know a bit more about me so far because of our beginning introduction. So for you, I'm a Peruvian. I got in love with this beautiful Slovenian girl in an airport. And I ended up living in Slovenia. We moved to an area that is called Prekmurje, so it's a rural part of Slovenia. My experience since I came to Europe has been completely amazing in the terms of what do we have available, okay? Now, remember, I live in this rural area where the people believe that they don't have anything available. But I'm a Peruvian, and we have less than them, so I could see, right, that they had something that they could not see. When I came to Macedonia for the first time, this is my fifth visit to Skopje, I felt that the Macedonians were thinking something very similar. We are not having the best conditions for starting our businesses in comparison with the Germans, with the English, with the Americans, whatever you want. And I'm telling you, you are wrong. You have the conditions because the conditions depend on you, not on the government, not on your country. And basically, if you have to compare, at least you are in a better condition than any Peruvian. Well, less me because I came here. So now, my path as an entrepreneur has been teaching me multiple things. Basically, everything is about people. At the end, the success of your business or your businesses, because it might happen that you are going to have different organizations in the future, depend on what is your attitude with people, not on your business model. So, but even though, so when you start thinking about people, I discovered that there are two aspects that you have to be very aware of. One of them is that I will put it in a different way. We are moving from culture, that is our traditional culture, let's say, into a new one. Social entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all kinds we are creating that new culture. But then I wanted to know what is the definition of those two cultures. What is the traditional one and what is the new one? And I found that the traditional one is based on fear. It's based on scarcity, in what we don't have. in pessimism, in how do we go out of the situation where we are to the situation where we would like to be. Okay, that's the old way. Right? Even advertisement is very much about a culture of fear. So what you don't have, that we believe you need. So they make you a bit scared in order to say, no, I want the BMW. Right? I can have it, why not? So it looks like empowerment, it looks like inspiring, but it's somehow using an insecurity that we all have in our back in order to fuel the system. But our businesses are watching and experiencing that this is not working any longer. So we are going into a different kind of culture where you and me are participating actively, where we see words like inclusion, for example, or equality, or access to opportunities, right? As a normal. How many of you would like to make a war? How many of you think that a war is necessary? So we started, without saying words, to agree on a certain set of rules that are creating this culture of freedom. The culture of freedom is a space where we don't start by thinking what I don't have. Is starting by saying what we do have and what can we do from that point of view. That is liberating. And that's the 100% full potential of the entrepreneur. So the entrepreneur is a bit different than the businessman. Okay? The entrepreneur has an attitude of growth. Entrepreneurship, and the reason why we are entrepreneurs, is to develop ourselves as persons. We want to be a great example for everybody else. Is that right? Would you like to be a great example?
Yes.
Right? So what happens when we become a great example? Others follow. That's it. We are still monkeys. And some good-looking monkeys, let's say. And so what I'm trying to say is we have to be aware of that change in culture in order to consciously drive it. And that's my invitation and expectation for you today and tomorrow. So that's it for me.
Thank you, I will do a last summary roundup, and then we can start with the official part of the actual reason why we are all here. But before we jump into it, I wanted to share two stories actually from my experience of working with social entrepreneurship. Working in the Balkans for the past 7 years, bringing social entrepreneurship to a certain level, had one very big challenge for me personally. People come from a position of they know the mission very well, they know their impact very well, they want to change the world, but they don't know how to make money out of it. And when I say a business model, the very basic definition of a business model is how to make your parents shut up and not tell you, find a job that is a real job. So this is the business model definition. How do you make sure the others understand that what you do brings money and profit so you can scale your impact as well? And doing good and doing well, business model and impact model, these are two things that can go together. We lived too long in a world where we thought this is very separate, but not anymore. And there are models, theories, professors, universities, practitioners and businessmen that are actually doing it. I live at the moment in Vienna, in a country where even the biggest casino chain of companies, Novomatic, comes to us to say we want to be more responsible and more impactful. How should we change our business model to be more social? Disaster for me. I mean, wrong question. How can you make gambling more responsible? You can't. You should close it. Yeah, but that's not the right attitude. I challenge you, all of you, to think outside of the box. Because basically all the industries we see today are not wrong. They were created also for a good reason. It was not to destroy the world. I doubt that anyone created something to destroy the world. But how do we make this shift into the shared economy, social economy, purpose-driven economy? You are in a stage where you are privileged because you start from scratch. You have the chance to create systems that will be small examples of this new economy. The old businesses have a more difficult task. I would say even institutions. All of the systems that already support the world are the ones that need to also shift, and they have a more difficult job because the system already works. Why should we change it? But yes, we have to because we are pressured from the outside. And how are we going to make this shift? Definitely by collaboration. Definitely by making sure that our bubbles meet other bubbles and together create bigger bubbles. And one last story in this direction that I wanted to share was that almost 10 years ago, I'm one of the people who started Mladi Info in Macedonia, which is a web portal where we gave open scholarship calls for young people to go abroad and study abroad. 10 years ago, we won a European Youth Award, international festival, where the Minister of Youth of South Africa handed me the award for special business potential. There was no one else from Macedonia in the audience, except one friend of mine who lives in that country and was there to basically support me. And when I was on stage, the Minister of South Africa asked me one question. How do you know that what you do is right? And I said, I know because the government doesn't know we exist. But actually everyone else does, or the ones we serve do. And I want to finish my presentation or my thoughts with the conclusion that this is the first time that I attend a boot camp where we have the attention from a government institution of this kind. And this is not only Macedonia, I'm talking about global experience. And this is our chance to influence them in the way they think about us, and for us to influence and change our mindset of what is government. We are all in the same bubble, and we need to work together to find the best solutions. So I can't say how thankful I am that you made it today, and we will make sure to bring you again to some other events. Thank you very much again.